pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I guess it would be inappropriate if I don't say something about the Gaming Commission decision. I'm excited about their selection because I think not only did they select the right county, but they selected the right site and development. I've always felt that Adelar, because they had such involvement with professional planners in designing the place, had truly created a family resort destination, and I think that's what was needed. Out of all the competition, they were truly the only multifaceted resort destination, and so from that perspective, as a planner, my planning bias, the best plan won. So excited about that. With that,
can I also add to that?
oh, absolutely.
I was so glad to see their emphasis on workforce development, minority groups, women, disabled, and we have a lot of work to do to get people job ready between now and in 2 years. The challenges are enormous.
They are. And I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, and I think it's not only the full-time jobs. I think there are opportunities for a lot of the high school kids who may be taking trades at BOCES to get involved in unions and apprenticeship programs, and there's going to be a lot of construction jobs.
And to retain our workforce in the government center.
Oh, true. Yeah. No, it'll have a ripple effect. Hopefully it'll increase wages and all that, which will be good for the county. And so it's an exciting period. But we also have long-established industries like agriculture in the county that deserve our equal attention, and which is a good prelude into an update on the Ag and Farmland Protection Plan. Melinda?
Hi. Alright, so we've been working really hard, and today, hopefully is today, everything is, the Ag and Farmland Protection Board, who recommending the plan, everything has been finalized, and one thing, just one plan has to be updated because it was missing a parcel for a farm in the maps, but everything else is been reviewed. We had the public meeting on November 3rd where we took comments, and we've really tried the whole past year to get as many comments as possible from the public and provided a few different opportunities. We're doing the official public hearing today.
Is this what you emailed to us the
Yeah,
other day?
this is what I emailed, but I just have extra copies for anyone in the room.
Because I made copies, I just...
Okay, but I did put together, this is just a slideshow that I updated to show the implementation part of it, just so if you're talking to anyone, kind of the next steps and where we're going with it.
Okay, Ellen, can you get a bunch? I'll get this.
So,
thanks so much.
So as you can see in the back, we really talks more about implementation. And I mean, I've gone through, I know the last meeting, the different priorities and goals and strategies, and they've all stayed the same. It's just kind of adding some updates, some additions to it. But really the implementation, the Ag and Farmland Protection Board is excited and ready to go, and the plan recommends a ag task force, kind of like an umbrella task force that works with the different organizations, Ag Advisory Board, Ag and Farmland Protection Board, to help prioritize based on what's in the plan to then, designate what the different organizations and partners and everyone can work on to make it happen, both short-term and long-term. And there's, recommendation in the plan of the different agencies that should be involved and organizations, but they're, ready to go and to move forward on that.
Yeah, I just want to jump in and make one point. It's a real economic development focused plan, and in the past 2 weeks we gotten announcements of being awarded grants for 2 agriculturally oriented projects. The the yogurt operation and Maple Farm expansion. So I think the timing is nice. It allows us to hit the ground running with this.
Yep, and so I was gonna say that we also, on the slide, just kind of put together some of the stuff that we're already working on that started through the plan with developing different resource guides, really enhancing the agribusiness revolving loan fund and doing outreach for that, which we've really been pushing. We've already, and I have a few interviews and potential applicants coming up, just really working on what came back as the needs from the farmers and agribusinesses and developing programming at Cornell to help satisfy that, and then also, potentially working on some agritourism publications. We put together a Christmas tree farm list, hoping to use things with maple syrup producers, things like that to make it accessible for the public to know where to get farm products. So we're kind of already doing things, and we want to get it going. Some of the next steps. So what we have is kind of the outreach for the plan and the project to not even just the plan, but just to show the importance of agriculture in the county with all the different statistics that we have. So we have the executive summary that we want to go out, and this is 16 pages of the plan that we really want to just use it to hand out to people so they can get a snapshot of the plan. But we have, as part of the grant and the project, money for communications. So we're going to take like a 6-panel brochure and use that, get it nicely designed with nice pictures, and to just really highlight how important ag is for the county, and have it out at different municipalities, just everywhere throughout the county, so people can just pick it up. And if they want to learn more about the plan, the statistics, and everything else, there'll be a link or where you can find that. So that's kind of part of the whole outreach. It's not just the plan, but just about everything about ag. So that's an underlying thing that we're working on now as well.
Do you have like an ag summit plan? Because I think the last one we had was in 2011, right, Jill?
We're looking into doing an excellent like a food summit, which we talked about with Cindy, to kind of connect the school districts and the farmers together. But that's the next summit that's planned, so not a general ag summit yet.
Is there money in the grant budget to be able to do like a launch?
No.
The
The
grant-
launch will be more of like the brochure that we're gonna go out and do presentations and speak to different people about that. So I mean, it's minimal money that's left for it. So,
Steingarten,
but there's recommendations of
happy
the plan.
Sullivan Day.
Yeah, all right.
To just look at different things like that. So that's where we hope to prioritize. But yeah, as Fred said, and Sue, we just got the grant funding, so that really helps to move some projects along. So we're excited about that.
Can I just say also, I attended, I think there were, 35 or how many people were at the farm funding?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
30 packages.
Yeah, I made 36 packages and they're all gone.
Yeah, to get that many farmers off the farm and into a farm funding workshop. I thought
That's
was
more than
phenomenal.
10% of the county.
It was phenomenal, and I think everybody there really got a lot out of the way you presented the material, the speakers that were there, the way to access funding, and I hope that, as things progress, we'll be able to increase our capacities, that we don't have you there as just a one part-time holding up this tremendous agricultural sector. Hint, hint.
That is a key recommendation of the
Hint,
plan.
hint. Yeah, and that we're able to, really bring that three-legged stool into balance, so that it's not just one form of economic development, but we all do need to eat.
So, any other questions so far?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that it was a lot of work,
Mhm.
a lot of good information, being involved, in the meetings going forward. And, I think a lot of people, should be encouraged to really study this, look at it and read it, especially the farming community, because then you see where we're at and where we're going with it. I just had a question about the implementation part with moving forward with an ag task force and an ag navigator. Who is taking the lead on that? Is that planning or is
That
that?
hasn't, well, the ag task force, it would go through together, extension and planning, to really work together on moving that forward.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you'll have work meetings or something
That's what we're
prior
hoping,
to
yeah,
that,
so,
or-
yeah, in January to kind of figure it out, who can be on it, pulling the partners. And the intent is that it's kind of the overall umbrella organization, so there'll be different projects where you're gonna bring in different types of partners, depending on what it is. If you're doing a farm to school, you're really gonna get that group of people
So as the chair of Ag and Sustainability, I'd like to be on that.
Oh, yeah,
committee
you're
as well.
recommended.
Right, right. The planning
Yes.
phase
Yep.
before the task force
Okay.
itself, because I know that the Ag Advisory Board will be
Mhm.
included in. The Ag Advisory Board, you know, once the plan started and then we were trying to focus on
Mhm.
priorities, the Ag Advisory Board is kind of waiting for that priority task
Mhm.
to move forward. And we had talked about the farm to school and having the farmers come and meet the food service directors directly, so they can tell them what they need, so that, you know, if they wanna grow, fill a need for the school, that's gonna be a, you know, a piece.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I think really looking at that ag task force, and probably the Ag and Environmental Protection Board is really taking the lead on this, so, you know, it seemed like the board members that you're on will help to figure that out.
Right, so
committee and
before
then-
the Ag Advisory, or the Ag Task Force is formed, you're gonna have a
yeah,
committee
yeah.
move it
I
forward,
think
and
the
then,
existing committee.
okay, and the Ag Navigator piece, that'll be discussed among the legislators,
Mhm.
ultimately,
Yeah,
that'll be.
yeah, yeah. Yes, the intent is the committee will kind of help with the legislators with that ag task force, since they've been so involved.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you, a lot of work, Melinda.
Thanks.
Thank you.
But, so I did print, actually, that's the intent of the executive summaries, I did bring for the public, so, you know, if you're talking to anyone, you know, you
Yeah,
can start to
yeah,
hand them
that's
out, so
excellent.
just,
Yeah.
you can always get some more. Oh, okay.
Segue into jump right because there are resolutions or.
So this is an expansion of the slideshow.
This
And
one I
the
gave
exec-
you is the expansion. This is the summary directly from the plan that
Oh,
we
okay.
had the consultant put together and beef it up a little bit and put in the important charts, to make it really make a point, and it just really sticks out what's going on.
We all got that in an email
Yep.
last week.
I know,
Yeah.
I read it and then I printed it and jammed the printer.
I did some nice color copies so you can hand them out to people and, you know, they
Yeah, good
ask.
idea, thank you.
And
About it.
congratulations, because I truly understand the importance of all of us here to eat. And we do not have big farms in this county like we have, like
Anymore.
Green Giant or something like that. But I think the small farms and buying local and that kind of encouragement for the small farms helps everybody in this county grow. Grow healthy and grow financially.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Melinda, you wanna segue into the, resolutions for the plan?
Yes, so we have the two resolutions also.
Three.
Three.
It's
Oh,
under
three,
planning,
yes,
it's
three.
3, 4, and 5.
So the,
Do you want me to read them?
yeah, I don't have a copy.
Okay, first is to authorize the adoption, I'll just read all three and
Okay.
then we can go over them. To authorize the adoption of a negative declaration under seeker regarding the approval and adoption of the county farmland protection plan. Second one is to authorize the approval and adoption of the updated county farmland protection plan. And third, so I'm gonna motion that we move them as a group, to modify resolution number 34813, community planning, with contract with community planning environmental associates. So Melinda, if you'll give a very brief explanation.
Yep, so the neg deck is just required. Come first. We worked with Tom on this to make sure how, the lead agency part of it that we discussed it the last time, we got an email confirmation from Ag and Markets attorney saying that it's basically given that the county's lead agency, you don't have to do a notice. So we have that documented.
That's correct.
So that's on record, and it's an update, to the county farmland protection plan for the next resolution. The last resolution is where we were talking about the additional money that is set aside that we have to spend according to the grant terms. There's 50,000 from Ag Markets, 10 from the state, or 10 from us. And there's two components, $3,000 for the survey work, which was an optional part, it's where they gathered all this information.
Which was done already?
It was done
Yeah,
already,
it was
but it
done at
wasn't
the
in the
beginning of the-
actual
the beginning of the
original
project.
contract.
They didn't get home until-
So that's under that communications piece, so that comes under the Ag and Markets portion, and then there was $2,000 left in the communications piece, which we talked to John Brennan, our rep at Ag and Markets, to use as communicating the plan and what we learned to the public through the brochure. And for that part, we felt it was, since the consultant already has the information, the money, you know, the risk ship and everything, it would be cost effective and more efficient to just continue to use that consultant for that piece.
Right, so basically what they're gonna do is they're gonna take this piece and put it into a brochure format that can be
Yeah,
distributed.
like a
So
nice,
it's still
clean design.
Stolzenberg.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
has a design, person that she works
She's
with.
a great consultant.
Yeah, she's got a good team, so, we just figured it was easier just to do that.
I just have one quick question, Alan, on the first resolution. It's, with regards to the neg deck and the adoption of the updated 1999, is it, written in law that the ag plan has to be updated every certain number of years?
I think it's recommended.
It's a rec,
And this is, this resolution is worded as an update because we've been saying the word update the whole time. There's other discussions we can, figure out we can make it as an amendment to the plan, but we can, figure it out.
No, I think we need to start fresh. I mean, we're in 2014, it's gonna be in place 2015. It's just would be nice if there was some language somewhere that, we do have periodic review. I don't know if the language is in there anywhere. Because this was tied to a grant. And assuming that the grant cycle,
Ag and Markets only provides funding every 10 years for the counties, so we only become eligible every 10 years.
okay, so that's
to
the
update
cycle.
the plans, yeah.
All right, so that means that not until 2025.
So it depends on the funding, because ours
Okay.
was up for, eligible for refunding in 2009, so we applied, but they did not have funding available
Oh.
till 2011, so
So that's why
we
we missed the
apply
boat.
when we're eligible, and then they fund us when they have the funds, so
Right,
we will then be eligible to then again apply in 2024, but whether there'll actually be funds will be up to Ag and Markets.
so I think if it's okay with you, Annie, that we add language in the resolution that as and when funding becomes available, because then this way, if anybody in the future is looking through, doing a search on resolutions as to when this,
Cora,
does that make sense?
I wouldn't do it in the seeker resolution.
Oh, that's not the right place.
That would
Do it in number 4. That's where you're adopting.
Adoption.
number,
Right.
in resolution number 4.
Which, that's
Where you're
the
actually
next.
adopting it, you ought to put some language in there, so it should.
What's the right language to put?
Whereas the county is eligible for funding every.
Wait a minute, I can't hear you. Whereas the what?
Whereas the county is eligible for funding every 10 years as per New York State Ag and Markets law, or not law, but office, department.
County's eligible for funding every 10 years.
Or
Would
as
be-
available.
It would be an additional be it further resolved at the very end, I think,
Mhm.
would be the appropriate place.
Right.
Right.
So we adopt it, and then you can do be it
Department of
further
Ag and
resolved, that the county shall seek
Department of
funding
Agriculture
upon
and Forestry.
availability to update the comprehensive plan in the future.
But not the
Or
last
every
one,
10
though,
years as
before.
eligible.
Yeah,
Tom was
because,
specific about making sure that last one was last.
right. Because otherwise what ends up happening is we go through from 1999 to 2015, it's more than 10 years.
Be it further resolved, the county is eligible for funding every 10 years through the Department of Ag and Markets.
Do you wanna
No,
do
no, I would
10
keep
years
it
in
simple.
there in case
I would
the
keep it,
state
here we
changes?
go.
When
Be it further
I would say
resolved,
when available, because if the
When-
state changes,
we don't wanna
that,
say
it's
every
not
10 years.
We
Yeah.
wanna-
Right.
that the county shall seek
Good point.
funding when available
update the plan.
to update the comprehensive plan.
To keep it current, otherwise we end up,
Simple.
When it's available.
No, the
Farmland
farmland
protection.
preservation plan.
Agriculture and Environment Protection Plan.
is everybody happy?
No,
It's gonna keep it very simple once again.
say it again. Then we're gonna get a motion and
We're
second
gonna
to
adopt
discuss
it.
this.
It's gonna be it, therefore, be it resolved, the
Right.
Sullivan County Legislature hereby adopts the 2014 Sullivan County Agriculture
Right.
Farmland Protection Plan.
Be it further resolved,
Be it further resolved
On the,
the county.
that upon availability of funding,
they're just adding a sentence at the end that they'll continue to update
Okay.
as.
Yep, that takes
that's
Lori's
the
point.
terms of art for funding, that upon availability of funding, the county shall seek
To periodically update the plans.
The county shall
funds
see
to update
funds,
the
the
County Agriculture and Farmland Protection Plan.
county farmland.
Protection.
Are you with us on that, Tom? We're changing
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
legalese.
You don't wanna tie yourself into a specific.
Was it
time.
tag team attorneys?
I figured to
Isn't
keep
that
it
great? Pass the baton
generic and
over.
simple and, yeah,
How
there we
many
go.
attorneys in the room?
Okay, so now we need a motion.
How many attorneys do
and
we
a
need in the
second
room at one time?
in the block.
Wait, do we have
To
to
change
need
a
a
light
motion
bulb?
to amend?
That's $6 you
Let's
can
do, let's
To
do a
interrupt an
motion
ag meeting.
to do it in a block, and then we'll do a separate motion to amend number 4.
Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna ask for a motion to move all three as a block.
I just have one.
Second.
The 3,000 for county share, that's outside the scope of the grant.
It's outside the scope of the grant, but within the grant requirements, because we use it as a match.
And it's also
We have
budgeted.
to- And it's budgeted, yep.
Okay, seconded by
Me.
Oh, wait, I moved it.
Me, I'll second.
Jean,
Okay,
Good
now I
work.
will ask
for a motion to
for a motion to amend
Motion.
number 4.
Second.
Jean, Cora.
as we just so stated.
Yeah, don't read that all over again.
And now I need a motion,
You need to call the question on the amendment
call the question on the amendment. All
of
those in
number
favor?
4. 5-0.
Okay. And now I'll ask for a motion to approve.
All three of
all
them,
three
and number 4
I'll move
as
it.
amended.
Second,
Okay,
I hope.
all right,
this is smooth operation of government.
very good.
Okay.
Thank you,
Contributions.
everybody.
See you this
Linda, thank
afternoon.
Merry Christmas.
Yay, you must be relieved.
Yeah, with all the
Yeah.
fun starts.
Okay. We're next gonna go to the, discussion on the local waterfront revitalization program. Heather, I turn it over to you.
Getting 4 copies made of this to see it.
I like that you chose a blue watercolor.
Oh, thank you. And I think I was here about a year ago discussing the plan with you all. And I went over some basics that the New York State Department of State has this local waterfront revitalization program. And they fund plans, but they also fund implementation. And we were funded for a plan, which we're now wrapping up and in the final stages of. And we'll be walking around to the towns and hopefully adopting it here at the county level. But as I said, it's a plan and a program, so while we were writing the plan, we've already started implementing it. We've got some pieces moving forward. Eligibility for the program is based on proximity to a body of water. In our case, it's the Delaware River. It's a 50% match program, so we've been doing a lot of in-kind for these projects.
I'm just gonna jump in and say that like the ag plan, we were just awarded through the CFA another grant to do an implementation piece of this.
Yay.
Yeah, I was really excited about that. So you can see.
What was the amount?
35,000.
Yeah.
And basically, you know, what we've done in the past, or what we did last year, was scale the request of the grant amount to what we could provide as an in-kind match with staff resources, which kind of limits the amount that we're asking for, but maybe in the future we can
And
think
just
about
define
wrapping
what
that
that
up.
was for?
It's for final design and engineering of river access improvements
Okay,
in Highland. And I don't wanna
Yeah, so we'll-
steal Heather's thunder, she'll get to that in a minute, but.
But to Cindy's question, we can consider this phase 2.
Well,
Oh.
we have 4.
I'll let you talk.
All right, we have,
I'm
we
gonna
have- we currently have 4 grants now. So we have the plan.
I'm gonna ask that Heather be allowed to do a presentation.
We have the plan. We have a grant to design 6 accesses, which we're also wrapping up, and install signs on some of the bridges and at Pondetti. And we have a small grant actually through Orange County. They're administering it for us because we did a regional application. We tied it all together. We made it a CFA priority project, and all 4 projects that we tied together got funded. And Orange County was kind enough to house this grant for us because they had a much larger purchase. And all the grants tied into the plan, so that's how we tied it together, which is pretty cool because this plan has the ability to help us show regional effort and transformation, regional transformation. So the parking study in Pondetti was sort of related to the access project because the access that is being proposed in Pondetti doesn't have much, it's a very land constrained site, so we wanted to see if there are other opportunities for parking in the area. So we're actually wrapping up that project too. So the first 3 grants we have, we're kind of wrapping them up and finishing up, which is pretty exciting because with the Highland access, which is what we just got funded, we're we're moving forward with engineering, which means that our next application could be really on the ground, you know, construction. and the Highland access is good because it's right on Route 97. It's something that's visible by a lot of people traveling through the corridor. So having that be one of the first things to actually get built, constructed, I think would be able to show that we have progress and that we're implementing our plans. This was just a definition of the program. But being in the plan gives projects priority status for funding. So I have spent a lot of time gathering up the projects in the region and tying together the plans of the region, you know, the zoning, the comprehensive plans, and it just, you know, because of the National Park Service, there's the Upper Delaware River Management Plan, there are all sorts of regional plans and local plans, and this was an attempt to tie them all together and to kind of coalesce some of the visions. So, as I said, here, you guys want to take a look at me? Right now, the status of the plan is that we're doing the final edits, and our consultant will package it for us and graphics and stuff.
Oh, I'm just listening. I'm trying not to talk.
The New York State Department of State has to review it, and then, of course, we would like the county to adopt it. Although that is not actually part of the grant requirements, but it is a nice sign that we apply it. But,
Heather, did you email this to us or no?
yes, I can. I did not.
Yeah, that way, I'll give my copy to Annie, so if you can, I'll make my own copy.
But I
then.
think the other
But she
important part
needs one for
about
the record.
having the legislature sign off on it is then what other state or federal grants come, you don't have to be scrambling for county legislative approval. You've got it as part of this launch for whatever next phase of funding you need.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really great projects, and you know, I can say that because they're not necessarily my projects. They're they're efforts that are ongoing, and I just wanted to show this here. Groups that work in the region. This was pretty. This does not include the municipalities, any of the municipal boards, or governmental entities. This is the not-for-profits that are at work in our region, doing some pretty great stuff. And I think that people are coming to the table now. People are starting to collaborate with each other, and I don't think it's necessarily just because of the work that we've been doing, but I think that the time is right. That you know, not-for-profits, for-profits, government, I think we're all ready. This here is to show how much you have to keep your finger on the pulse. So since I started, these smaller studies were all launched or completed, and so you know, they were at some point incorporated into the plan. And again, I think that these things here show that people are really looking at the region and coming together to look at the resources that we have. From the plan, these were the critical issues that sort of came up. I presented these to you before. Hamlet and Main Street revitalization, preservation of natural resources, balancing of property rights, economic development and preservation, and of course finding the best way to brag about what we have and to promote it, outside the region.
If I could interrupt you on that, you spoke of down on 97 an access place. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Actually, I'll get to it.
Okay.
And I even have a picture.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the plan, it supports multiple projects. I think that I started to discuss that there's a lot going on. From the catchment area goes from Port Jervis all the way up to Hancock. So we have 3 counties involved too. And the Whitewater Kayak Park down in Port Jervis is moving forward. The current mayor down there is behind it, and he's gotten some really significant support for it. So we can't but help to think that that's going to really help our efforts here in this county too. As Alan knows, Hancock's done a lot of great work, a terrific rethinking of a parking lot into a area.
Oh, yeah,
park.
the Village Green.
Yeah.
Came out nice.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty brilliant.
Is that because he was a consultant?
But actually, I don't know, you were the consultant, but,
I
you know,
came up with the original design.
You did?
I swear.
Alright, I was not
I mean,
using
the
it,
scenic
but it was,
overlook
it's true, it's
and
like an
trail.
amazing project. We need.
But I was just gonna say, you know, looking at the work that you've done here,
What are you
you've set the
looking for?
foundation
Casino in up yet?
to secure CFA funding to implement, and that is a marvelous thing, because that's how you do it. You have to build the foundation for these, to get successful CFA applications,
And then the money will come.
and then the money comes, and I would encourage, you know, my colleagues, you know, when the plan is finished, to formally adopt it, because that just adds weight, when you're applying for the application. If it's formally adopted by the municipality, in this case the county, it's gonna strengthen the CFA application. You have some wonderful projects in here, you know, that are clearly going to be eligible, I think very competitive, in the CFA process, and, you know, that was kind of the dream all along with the Upper Delaware Scenic Byway, was to make the river more accessible to the public and to enhance that visitor experience, and, you know, it really shows in here. It's an incredible amount of work,
Thank you.
very impressed.
Yeah, and I think the time is right, so, on these associated projects, one of the things that it shows is the National Park Service is having its 100th anniversary in August 2016. So, they're actually helping us start implementing some of our river accesses. We have, you know, the Long Eddy project. I'm sort of
Yogi Bear's gonna have broadband there, I understand.
Yes, well, you know, actually, they did, our consultants incorporated having, whips, which are, means of, I'm not good at the broadband
Yes,
stuff.
wireless internet service providers,
Yes,
WISPs.
wisps. Sorry.
But
I
yeah,
was
it's
thinking
gonna
wisps.
have broadband.
You know, like the little antenna, like.
Yep.
Anyway, yes, and they incorporated that into all of the the schematic designs, and that makes a lot of sense, that when you're at an access, you should be able to call your ride and say, I'm here. So, yeah.
It's great.
So anyway, the river access project, which of course we're also wrapping up, you know, we've got 6 schematic designs now. When the final draft is completed, but not yet downloadable by us from the consultant, we're working on that. But the idea was that we would have a portable, kind of adaptable set of design standards that would start on these 6 river accesses, but then be useful for other projects, so that if everybody starts to look at them and adopt them, that they would be able to start creating this sort of cohesive look, you know, in a sense that you've arrived when you come into the National Park Service area. And to help us along on that, we just got funding, well, actually what we did is a planner from the Rivers Trails Conservation Assistance Program to help us, because, you know, it's not fair to Sullivan County that we're leading this regional effort, you know, and bringing in Pennsylvania, which we have significantly brought into this project here, you know, and Orange County and Delaware County, but that this planner will be able to help us, you know, bring in all of these other people, you know, sort of a more neutral and more time to kind of look at them. And the final outcome of that, hopefully, we have a grant for a small amount of time to sort of start arranging that process to then eventually get the Delaware designated a national water trail, which it is de facto already, but getting the designation will help them bring these design elements and best management practices into play in a more cohesive way on the river. So I think I mentioned, you know, there's a lot of people at work in the region, and one of the things that the schematic designs did was we had to address the signage, and as you guys probably know, the National Park Service cannot own more than, I think, 25 acres of land in the river corridor, so a lot of our accesses are owned by New York State DOT, New York State DEC, the Boy Scouts of America, just, you know, any number of people, and to get a cohesive signage system that represents those entities at play, which vary from site to site, was probably one of the hardest things to do, and I think we have almost everybody on board with this signage system, which is pretty basic because it incorporates the DEC's signs, their identifiable river access signs, and as well as the National Park Service Brown, and then it allows for the actual symbols of each of the entities to be at the bottom.
It was the consultant that had pointed out at one of those workshops I went to that, like everywhere else, you know where you are, but when you're going down 97, there's nothing telling you you are here at the Delaware River Gap or wherever you are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was over almost 2 years ago when that was first brought up, so it's.
Yeah, so this is starting to work on that problem. Coming to this was difficult. It was funny, I thought signs would be easy, but no, it was very difficult because everybody, DEC has their specific sign that, and it's good to have a specific sign, like when you see the McDonald's sign, you know what to expect. When you see the DEC fishing access sign, you know what to expect. So you don't want to stray from that too far. So you don't want to go out and invent something really crazy just to make, your brand unique. You want to have that identifiable, existing branding incorporated in. So I think that was pretty fortunate. Should I continue? I have lots to talk about, but I don't know how much time
Well,
we have.
I think I was fooled by the fact it says discussion in the presentation.
Yeah, I
No, I'm sorry.
I think we had planned a presentation and then
Yeah.
saw it said discussion, so.
So Long Eddy, probably people have heard about the Long Eddy project.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting, and the town is ambivalent, but the town is kind of on board. They understand that there's going to be an access, and we're working to incorporate what they would like to see there. I think they had some concerns that it was just going to be for the fancy fishermen, and they want something for their town too. So we have some events planned for this winter and this spring to help bring the community in, to start trying to connect the businesses to the fishing guides to see about opportunities for both of them. So we've got some plans for that, and this is an excellent example of the kind of people we have coming to the table, because we have the Delaware Highlands Conservancy stepping in because the DEC cannot move quickly enough to purchase property when it comes up for sale like that. So they're going to purchase it, carry it for the interim, and the DEC will take them out at the end of the day. They did a Indiegogo account to help them get the funds for the carrying costs, and they were very successful and brought attention to the project. So that was cool too, showing some interesting ways of financing these projects. That we have the not-for-profits, but we also now have the for-profits. We have the fishing guides giving money to things that they know that they benefit from. So here's our concept plan. Callicoon, we have excellent opportunity to put in something big for next year for them that would tie together our access with their wastewater treatment plan upgrade needs. So there's really nice angles to that to help several things in the town of Delaware. Skinner's Falls, great spot. 10 Mile River, we got some great things to see there, but I'm gonna skip ahead to the Highland. The Highland site right now is basically just a pull-off from 97, and it's kind of this goat trail down to the water, but it's technically a fishing access, and our consultants figured out a way to make it ADA compliant, and to really sort of spruce it up and make it, a place where you can stop and launch your boat and also take out. So that's the one that we got the grant to do the engineering for, and DEC co-manages the site with NPS, but New York State DOT actually owns the site. But I know that DEC is very excited about having us do the engineering, and I think implementation will probably be pretty easy after that. And then Pondeti, which is the county-owned parcel, and there's a bridge reconstruction there, but we're working to make sure that everything that happens at that site benefits Sullivan County and the town of Monroe. And so, there'll be some really great renderings of these in the final, the elements, the bathhouses, the, changing rooms, the kayak pavilion, so you can stow your kayak while you, ride your bicycle back to your car, because there'll be bike racks too. So, portable, ranger stations. National Park Service was not so happy about this guy, cause he's a little harsh.
So is it the responsibility of the National Park Service to track how many more tourists are coming as a result of all of this infrastructure?
No, but I think that that's a good point. I don't know, I think that maybe, we can work on getting the counts, comparing the counts and seeing what the results are.
Oops, Cindy's had her hand up, I apologize.
Go ahead, Val.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. As the legislator for District 5, I've got a lot of positive feedback about that work. I want to thank you for your communication tonight and keeping me updated. I think one of the biggest things that I heard is increased foot traffic for the smaller communities, increased tourism, which I'm really excited about this, because not only is it just a river access, but I'm looking at your plans and your drawings, it's the landscaping piece, and you've been great at working with the community, and like you said, with the town of Fremont, trying to come up with some ideas for them to be more of a part of it. But I think the most exciting thing for me was to see the community come together with the public-private funding and bridge the gap funding. So Fremont has a really active community. They have a lot going on up there, and they've embraced it. So I just want to thank you for all your efforts. Yeah. And Alan for being a believer. A believer in the river corridor on the western end of the county. We're
Always have
still
been.
there.
Always have been.
We're alive and well over there.
Well, I think, it's, yesterday.
That's a live droid.
I've had this one.
I mean, I think the news yesterday is extremely exciting, but I also think we have an opportunity to kind of learn from the county's past mistakes. We have a real opportunity to diversify not only our economic base, but also our tourism base. And economic base in terms of agriculture, making sure that we continue to focus on that and don't just try to pursue one industry. In terms of tourism, understanding that we're a county, 1,100 square miles that has many unique different areas for the visitor experience, and so that to continue the efforts along the Delaware and up the Catskills, Basherkill, simultaneously with developing, our tourism destination sites is going to do a lot to help sustain economic activity in the county for the long run. So I wouldn't want to see us fall in the trap of just being one industry town.
So going along with that, when I first became a legislator, and we looked at some of the models, like, are people still staying on the Pennsylvania side of the river? Are they,
When
the
they're
B and
done, I
B's
wanna say
there,
something.
the restaurants, the shopping, that sort of, the next kind of economic development layer is that we're providing all of this infrastructure, but are people still going elsewhere to spend their room tax dollar, their gas tax dollar, their, beer tap dollar, right?
Right.
So, I think we've had many
yeah.
discussions about this.
Right, and there have been, part of one of those things was that some of the economic studies that have been done and are being done right now in the river corridor, and it's, there's definitely room for growth. The Upper Delaware Scenic Byway showed that we are leaking restaurant money, and that's not just, the New York side, that's the corridor in general. What could be expected for income for a restaurant where there is a scenic byway, it should be higher than what we have,
Right.
which is interesting. I mean, I think we have some pretty spectacular restaurants over there, and apparently we can support more, but it's a matter of, figuring all those pieces out. I think, like the MAP program and some of the other planning initiatives really are starting to address that too, so.
Yeah, and I'd like to, we're calling it the Local Riverfront Access Program, but it's really so much more comprehensive than that. You might wanna think of a different name like liquid assets or something.
Oh, nice.
That, you know, well,
Yeah. Yeah, but
market it.
the plan definitely is more, it's much more broad than just the accesses. The accesses were, part of what was subsequently funded, so it seems like it's a bigger piece because, it's moving forward already. But there are definitely other pieces too.
Okay, Jean?
I'm happy that we're developing the Delaware River Corridor. I'm happy about Route 97. I'm happy about all of that. In the future, when funds and time become available, I would like to see something done with the Neversink River area. It's always never mentioned, except by me.
I know,
And
it's
I'd like to see
gorgeous.
something happen because the Neversink does end up in the Delaware. And it brings in a whole another area of the county and a very large area of the county. And I'd like to see something done along that.
There's, some focus on it right now that, sort of connects it to the river. I don't know if I had that slide in there, but,
Much more.
the William Penn
Yeah.
Fund Foundation is,
I mean, there's some DEC fishing access, but there's no boat access. I would like to see more done on the Neversink area. Thank you.
Like to see a linear park along the Neversink. It's possible.
Yes, it is.
Cindy?
Yeah, I would like to build on what Alan had just mentioned about, you know, not getting lost with the efforts for the smaller businesses. And so I've been advocating for a long time to pull the small business efforts together in one place. And I'm just gonna pass my resolution around to form a small business development division within the Sullivan County Department of Planning. And I'll just, read it. The Sullivan County Legislature recognizes the tremendous economic impact to advance and encourage small business development. Whereas it is well noted that a renewed focus on the needs of new and existing small business should be specific and in addition to efforts of community development. The legislature recognizes the value of current efforts of economic development that focus on larger businesses creating many jobs, but desires increased initiatives that focus specifically on smaller job creators with the goal to expand and create jobs in the private sector. So what I'd like to do is just pass this around. I know this went around before and we never took action on it. I would like to request of the Department of Planning if we could just have a summary maybe for the next planning meeting of all the initiatives, like MAP was just mentioned. This river access is something that builds on small communities. I represent the western end of the county. We're private sector small business. We're uniquely different from the eastern end of the county. So I'm advocating for Fremont and Callicoon and you know, my smaller communities. So I'd like to give this to the chair for consideration possibly next month. And if, you know, if it would be possible to get a summary spreadsheet of all the efforts for small business so we can review them, take a look at them, maybe formalize those. This is what's here so that people know when they ask me or when they ask you where to go, what's available, do they qualify? Not that we're, you know, all over. Okay.
Fred, can you put
that's
that
it.
together?
Yeah, absolutely,
Thank you.
that's not a problem.
Just as a point of
That's not a problem.
information, small business is all over the county, not just in certain districts. That's just my,
Throughout the county is what the resolution says.
I'll
Okay.
put my name on that resolution.
Thank
with
you,
Cindy.
Cora. Thank you.
I do wanna,
Move on.
yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
We do have it. I wanna get back to the agenda and then we can go off on a few tangents again. Let's see.
Resolutions,
not,
county
not
treasurer
really.
resolution.
County
We have
treasurer.
another meeting at 10.
Nancy?
I can be brief.
Was it a
The
camera?
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
one,
Government services.
I had sent out, it was, no, I'm sorry, the first one, Ed came across, it was a parcel that really doesn't exist. So it's a cleanup, the two offices collaborated and we both agree, because it is an unenforceable tax, the parcel should have never been created. So
Okay.
that's what resolution one is.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion on resolution one.
Motion.
Jean,
Second,
Jean,
Cora.
Oh, I thought I could second myself.
no.
And I can't second, I'm not on the.
Okay, discussion, hearing none, I'll call the question, all those in favor?
Five
Thank you.
zip.
And the second resolution is a private sale. We have a a list. This parcel is a little dinky, tiny parcel. It's been in a couple auctions, and it would be great to get that back in the tax rolls.
Motion.
How much is it?
Jean,
It's just,
second.
it's 6 acres.
It's landlocked, 6 acres.
Did you get a second?
Nope.
Because we
Second.
can't discuss it until there's a second.
Okay,
Okay.
all those in favor?
5-0.
It was 6 acres. Yeah, we got the answer
A
from,
landlocked 6 acres?
It's landlocked.
Is that what it is?
okay.
So
Um,
you're expecting, if I could ask, you're expecting that the surrounding owners are going to purchase it? 'Cause I mean, I wouldn't be buying a landlocked piece of property, so.
Somebody did.
Adjacent.
Lawrence Reed.
Right, it's an adjacent
It's-
owner.
Okay.
It's in the resolution.
Okay,
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move 6 and 7 as a block.
Second.
Second Corey.
okay. Ed, do you wanna add anything?
No, it's just incorrect acreage on the tax roll. Parcel lakefront land in Lossing Lake.
For 2013 and 2014.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
2,
move first and
2
second,
years.
right? So
Yeah.
call the question. Okay,
5-0.
departmental updates, any further? I'm sorry, Nancy?
I just wanted to remind everyone that our foreclosure has been enacted, that the last day to redeem is February 17th. If you have any constituents that have any issues, don't forget we have the installment program. Please have them call the office so that we can assist them with any way that we can help them out with it's truly an installment program, but we like to let them understand all their options, and please do it well before the 17th.
February 17th?
People have a
February
habit of
17th?
confusing the installment program with the repurchase program, and they think they have till April.
And it's too late.
It's a completely different program, Nancy's correct. People often come to her office and after 2 weeks after the redemption period and say, I wanna enter into an installment purchase, and they're not permitted to do that anymore.
Okay.
So if anyone's interested in, it's a payout schedule as opposed to the 5 and 10% penalties in the repurchase after we're already entitled. They're completely different. Both my office and Nancy's office gets calls on that all the time. People confuse those two programs.
So maybe
Okay.
we could put a thing on the website with each program and the due date for that, right? Because there's 4 different programs, right? 4 different ways that people can avoid foreclosure.
Well, the last one we always say is option, which
It's
is not
too late.
avoiding, right, that's not avoiding foreclosure. There's 2 ways to avoid, redeem or enter into an installment.
So if we have that on the website, will that help?
Well, it's, you can't lock into a specific date, because every year they initiate it.
Right.
The date of redemption is different. This
Okay.
one got pushed back 2 weeks, usually it's the very last day or 2 of January, because we had to, due to Ira's passing, we had to redo some paperwork, and put it into Nancy's name as the enforcing officer, so that bought everyone in the county a couple of weeks, basically. So that's why it's the 17th, which is an unusual date. So I wouldn't wanna lock into a date specific, but it always coordinates with the redemption. People can come in at any time, long before we send notices of foreclosure, to say, you know what, I know I'm not gonna, I'm a year behind already, and I know I'm not gonna be able to make this year's taxes, is there anything they can do? The treasurer's
Well, and we send notices out within a couple years before the foreclosure comes ahead, and we stress that in every letter that, in fact, we start the May of the year it comes out. So in 2014, the taxes came out in January. May of 2014, we sent out our first letter, which is statutory by real property tax law, saying we have an installment agreement. So we send out numerous letters before we get to foreclosure.
But it's not on the website is what I'm
The
asking.
lists are published in the designated newspapers too, with the dates.
With the petition and notice, with a legal notice.
I still don't have an answer to
I
my
don't believe we've
original
ever
question.
put any of the Article 11 procedures online that I'm aware of.
I mean, no, that.
If
Is
that's
it
something
a
that
problem that,
I think
It's not a
maybe we
problem,
have
it
it,
would be
maybe
fine.
with the definitions of, what the redemption means and what repurchase means.
Sure.
I think that would be helpful.
And the entire legal notice should be online. I don't think it's necessary.
no, just the dates,
Yeah, that's
2
fine.
dates.
I know, the question had come up the small business loan program, the actual deadline, which is January 2nd, which is like obviously the day after New Year's.
All right.
Is there, I could say, the concern is that that application deadline, just with the holidays and everything, that there should be maybe an extension on that deadline.
We can certainly consider that. You know, we've started promoting the program. We've had a couple of, we've had one informational session. We have another one scheduled for this evening. And we're doing, you know, we're continuing to do outreach, you know, as we speak. So, yeah, we can certainly consider that.
Is that a state-imposed deadline or a
No,
county
no,
deadline?
it's not a state imposed deadline.
Because we already had one information session canceled because of bad weather.
Yeah, so we can certainly extend it.
Can you extend it to, what do you want, the 9th, or?
I mean,
one week, 2 weeks?
the one issue that's, you know, driving program deadlines is we'd like for people to have, their, the training occur in, February, March, April, so people can have their loans and their businesses and their plans for expansion set up for the summer season.
So when do you want to start the first date of the program?
I think we were looking at, February, to start the program,
So
but I think,
how much time do you need to review the applications?
it depends on how many we get.
It depends on how many we get. It also depends upon having a committee, which was the one thing I wanted to sort of add and make a comment on. We have a revolving loan review committee. It's down, I think, 2 people.
We're down for sure one. I think we might get another resignation, so we're looking for additional members.
So you do have a cushion in which you could extend the deadline.
Yeah, no, we'll
Oh, we
extend the
definitely
deadline.
have a cushion, and because also the other thing was, and I apologize if this is a repeat, but that we got the CDBG funding for the additional micro enterprise money. And so there'll be a question of how can we maybe pool both of those funds together to offer loans and grants and really extend the money further and help out more businesses. So that announcement just came in, and so now people are like, why should we apply for a loan if there's a potential grant? So we do wanna kind of work together and help the businesses, and so we have been talking about extending it, so.
Well, I think it's
yeah.
a good idea because I'll just tell you from perception-wise, when I brought it out in Liberty, the perception was that the reason that the deadline is so short is because the businesses have already been chosen, and I know that's not true.
Well, it was announced in November, it was,
That's right.
2.5 months for them to get an
But, well, between
application, so.
Thanksgiving and New Year's, it's not easy for small businesses to turn, even if it's a very simple application. So I'm just dealing with perception, not reality at the moment. But if now you are able to put like a series of dates together, then that perception can be turned around and said, we're actually looking for more businesses. I'm not saying that that was true. It's just January 2nd, today's the 18th, gives the perception that there's no room for maneuver. So,
Sure, we'll definitely extend it.
Thanks.
Definitely extend it.
So what's the latest you can extend it to and still meet your February target date for beginning the project?
Well, if we're gonna stick with the February, I would say we'd want at least 2 weeks to review the applications. And then the hope is then we have to invite those 20 people, assuming all 20 accept, and then find the dates that, coordinate for the majority to plan the dates.
So January 14th,
Yeah.
if that's not
That
a
would be
Saturday or
Wednesday.
Sunday.
Yeah, we'll give it a
Yeah,
2-week
well-
extension.
I mean,
Yeah, at a
Okay.
minimum, we'll do 2 weeks.
It's better to resolve it right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll just give it a
Okay,
2-week extension.
January 14th.
thank you very
16th.
much. Greatly appreciated by all the small business
16th,
owners.
which would be the Friday.
Sure.
Okay, so that's even better, 16th.
16th is even better.
Thank you, thank you.
They'll still,
Jill, thank you.
they'll still submit it at the last minute.
Okay, all good.
Oh, I just
Okay.
have one more question.
No, don't apologize.
Do you have an update on the grant program, the Main Street grant for the building?
Yes,
Keep that.
none of the applications to the New York State Main Street program from the county were.
We didn't get any
no,
of them.
No.
Okay, so when can we resubmit that?
It'll be another, this pretty much, we don't know when the CFAs will be announced for next year, but last year they were announced in April and they were due in the middle of June, so,
Now, was there
you know,
anything
comparable
that we
calendar.
could move that information into for grant funding between now and then, or no? We just have to wait till April for the CFA?
You mean, are there other
process?
programs?
Other opportunities?
We'll look at other opportunities, and, you know, just with respect to small businesses, I mean, the program we have now is, you know, it's not a brick and mortar opportunity, but it's an opportunity for loans, and we just got the other grant, and, we did have, you know, one of our staff members, going to, Jeffersonville and, you know, sort of going door to door to promote the program, as well as Liberty and
Okay,
other
so somebody
parts of the county.
communicated with the Village of Jeff
Yes,
about other
yes,
opportunities?
yes.
Did that take place yet, or?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Cindy Corr.
Second.
Thank you.
Second, Cindy. This was a great meeting.
Thank you.
How close is the waterfront